Stop for a moment and look around you right now. Count how many things you can see that you once thought you absolutely had to have. That phone in your hand, those clothes you're wearing, maybe that coffee cup sitting nearby. Here's a question that might make you uncomfortable. When was the last time any of those things actually made you feel complete? I'm talking about that deep, lasting satisfaction you were promised when you first wanted them. Can't remember? That's because it never happened, and it never will. Today, we're diving into our first lesson about why everything you think you own is actually owning you. And trust me, once you understand this, you'll never look at your possessions the same way again. This isn't about becoming a minimalist or throwing away your stuff. This is about breaking free from a trap that's been stealing your peace without you even knowing it. Let me tell you about Sarah, a successful marketing executive who had everything she thought she wanted. Her closet overflowed with designer clothes. Her garage housed 2 luxury cars, and her apartment showcased the latest gadgets and furniture. Yet every morning, she woke up feeling empty, scanning her possessions as if searching for something that was never there. This is where our first lesson begins, understanding why we grab onto things so tightly in the first place. When we look closely at our relationship with objects, something interesting emerges. We don't just want things because we need them. We want them because we believe they tell a story about who we are. That expensive watch isn't just keeping time. It's supposed to say we're successful. Those trendy clothes aren't just covering our bodies. They're meant to show we belong. We've confused what we have with who we are, and this confusion creates a prison we don't even realize we're in. Think about the last time you bought something you really wanted. Remember that feeling right before you purchased it. Your heart probably raced a little. Your mind painted pictures of how much better life would be with this new addition. But then think about a week later, a month later. What was that excitement? It had faded, replaced by the search for the next thing that would bring back that temporary high. This cycle isn't accidental. It's the natural result of looking for permanent happiness in temporary things. Here's what makes this even more interesting. Everything around us is constantly changing, whether we notice it or not. That brand new car gets its first scratch. Those perfect shoes wear down. That expensive phone becomes outdated. The universe is in constant motion, and everything physical follows the same pattern. It appears, it changes, and eventually it disappears. When we attach our happiness to these changing things, we set ourselves up for disappointment every single time. But there's a deeper truth hiding beneath all of this. The ancient teachers understood something we're just beginning to remember: the difference between what we actually need and what we think we want. Our real needs are surprisingly simple: food, shelter, basic clothing, meaningful connections. Everything else falls into the category of desires, and desires have no end. Feed one, and 2 more appear. It's like trying to fill a bucket that has no bottom. Now, here's where it gets practical. Learning to hold things lightly doesn't mean becoming a monk or giving away everything you own. It means changing your relationship with your possessions. Instead of believing they define you, you begin to see them as temporary companions on your journey. You can enjoy them, use them, even appreciate their beauty, but you don't confuse them with your worth as a person. When you start to loosen this grip, something beautiful happens. You discover a freedom you didn't know existed. You stop checking your bank account to measure your value. You stop comparing your things to other people's things. You stop feeling anxious about protecting, maintaining, or upgrading your possessions. The energy you once spent chasing and protecting objects becomes available for what actually matters: relationships, experiences, personal growth, and contributing to the world around you. This shift doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't mean you'll never enjoy nice things again. It means you'll enjoy them differently. You'll appreciate them without needing them. You'll use them without being used by them. You'll own them without being owned by them. And when they break, wear out, or disappear. As all physical things eventually do, you'll be able to let them go with grace instead of grief. Now let's move to something that cuts even deeper than our attachment to things. Our second lesson takes us into the world of human connections, where nothing stays the same and everyone you love will eventually change or leave. I know that sounds harsh, but stay with me here. Meet David, a man who spent most of his adult life trying to keep his relationships exactly as they were. When his college friends started getting married and having kids, he felt abandoned. When his girlfriend wanted to pursue her career in another city, he saw it as betrayal. When his parents began aging and couldn't be the strong figures he remembered, he felt lost. David was living in constant pain because he was fighting against the most natural thing in the world: change. Here's what most of us don't want to face. Every person who enters your life will eventually leave it in some way. Your childhood friends grow up and move away. Your romantic partners either stay and change or leave and change. Your parents age and pass away. Your children grow up and build their own lives. Even you yourself are constantly changing, becoming someone slightly different each day. This isn't a tragedy. It's just how life works. The problem starts when we try to freeze our relationships in time. We meet someone during their funny phase and expect them to always be the entertainer. We fall in love with someone's ambitious side and get upset when they want to slow down. We remember our parents as invincible and struggle when they become fragile. We're not loving the actual person. We're loving our idea of who they should be. But here's where it gets interesting. When you really love someone, you want them to grow, even if that growth takes them away from you. Real love isn't about keeping people the same so you feel comfortable. It's about celebrating who they're becoming, even when it's different from who they were when you first met them. This kind of love requires something most of us aren't taught: the ability to let go. Think about your closest relationships right now. How many of them would be healthier if you stopped trying to control how the other person should think, feel, or behave? How many arguments have you had that were really just you wanting someone to go back to being who they used to be? This resistance to change in others is like trying to stop a river from flowing. It's exhausting and impossible. The ancient wisdom teaches us something powerful about relationships. We suffer when we love with conditions. I love you if you stay the same. I love you if you don't leave. I love you if you keep making me happy. But love without conditions looks different. It says, I love you as you are right now, and I'll love whoever you become tomorrow. It says, I'm grateful for the time we have together, however long or short it may be. When you start loving people this way, something amazing happens. You stop trying to change them and start appreciating them. You stop fearing their growth and start supporting it. You stop seeing their changes as threats and start seeing them as gifts. And when someone does leave your life, through distance, death, or simply growing in different directions, you can feel grateful for the time you shared instead of bitter about the time you lost. Here we reach the hardest lesson of all, the one most people spend their entire lives avoiding. Our third teaching asks us to look directly at the one thing that makes everything else temporary: death itself. But before you close this video, let me promise you something. Understanding death doesn't make life darker. It makes life brighter than you ever imagined possible. There was a woman named Maria who lived every day as if she had forever. She postponed conversations with her father, thinking there would always be tomorrow. She delayed traveling, assuming she'd have time later. She avoided telling people she loved them, believing those words could wait. Then her doctor used a word that changed everything: terminal. Suddenly, Maria saw her life with completely different eyes. The mundane became precious. The ordinary became extraordinary. Every sunset was a gift she almost missed. Most of us live like Maria did before her diagnosis. We act as if death is something that happens to other people, something so far in the future that it's not worth thinking about. But here's the truth nobody wants to tell you. From the moment you were born, you started dying. Every breath brings you closer to your last one. Every day is one less day you have on this earth. This isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to wake you up. When you really understand that your time here is limited, something incredible happens. All the small stuff that used to bother you suddenly seems ridiculous. That argument with your neighbor about the fence, it doesn't matter. That grudge you've been holding for 3 years, it's stealing time you'll never get back. That fear of looking silly if you dance at a wedding. Life's too short to care what strangers think. Death is the ultimate teacher of what matters. When people are dying, they don't wish they had worked more hours or bought more stuff. They wish they had loved more freely, laughed more often, and worried less about things that didn't matter. They wish they had been braver, kinder, and more honest. They wish they had paid attention to the simple moments instead of always rushing toward the next thing. But you don't have to wait until you're dying to learn these lessons. You can start living them right now. When you remember that everyone you meet is fighting their own battle with time, you become more patient. When you remember that every conversation might be your last with someone, you listen more carefully. When you remember that you don't know how many more sunrises you'll see, you start actually looking at them. The fear of death keeps us from really living. We avoid risks that might bring joy because we're trying to stay safe. We don't say what we feel because we might get hurt. We don't try new things because we might fail. But when you accept that death is certain and its timing is uncertain, you realize that the biggest risk is not really living at all. Here's what the wise ones discovered thousands of years ago. When you stop running from death, you stop running from life. When you accept that everything ends, you start appreciating everything that is. When you understand that you're temporary, you stop taking yourself so seriously and start taking your time more seriously. The awareness of death doesn't make life meaningless. It makes every moment infinitely meaningful. Our fourth lesson brings us to something every single person will face, yet most of us fight against with everything we have: the natural process of growing older and moving through different stages of life. This isn't just about getting wrinkles or gray hair. It's about learning to see each phase of your existence as a completely different adventure. Let me introduce you to Robert, a man who spent his 50s desperately trying to be 30 again. He bought clothes meant for college students, started using slang he didn't understand, and exhausted himself trying to keep up with people half his age. Meanwhile, his neighbor Eleanor, the same age, had embraced her wisdom years. She gardened, mentored young people, and found joy in the quiet moments Robert was too busy chasing youth to notice. Same age, completely different experiences of life. Here's something our culture doesn't want you to know. Every stage of life has its own gifts, its own beauty, and its own purpose. Being 20 isn't better than being 50, just like spring isn't better than autumn. They're different seasons, each with something unique to offer. When you spend your 40s trying to be 20, you miss out on what 40 has to teach you. When you spend your 70s mourning your 30s, you waste the wisdom that only comes with decades of living. Think about how a tree changes through the seasons. In spring, it's full of fresh green leaves and new growth. In summer, it provides shade and shelter. In autumn, it shows off brilliant colors before letting go. In winter, it stands strong and bare, revealing its true structure. Nobody looks at a tree in winter and says it's failing because it doesn't have spring's green leaves. We understand that each season has its place and purpose. Your body is going to change, whether you like it or not. Your face will show the map of your experiences. Your energy levels will shift. Your interests will evolve. Your priorities will transform. This isn't a defeat. It's a graduation. Each decade you survive is a testament to your strength. Each wrinkle is evidence of emotions you've lived through. Each gray hair is a badge of honor for wisdom earned. But here's what really matters. While your body changes, something inside you can remain vibrant and alive at any age. You've probably met 20-year-olds who seem ancient and 80-year-olds who sparkle with curiosity. Age isn't just about years. It's about how you approach those years. You can be 70 and still learning new things, still growing, still surprising yourself. The secret isn't trying to stop time or reverse aging. The secret is dancing with whatever stage you're in right now. If you're young, embrace your energy and use it to explore and create. If you're middle-aged, embrace your experience and use it to guide and build. If you're older, embrace your wisdom and use it to teach and nurture. Each phase has its own superpowers if you're willing to claim them. When you stop fighting your age and start celebrating it, something beautiful happens. You stop comparing yourself to who you used to be and start appreciating who you're becoming. You stop seeing aging as loss and start seeing it as accumulation. Accumulation of experiences, wisdom, stories, and depth. You realize that the person you are today contains every person you've ever been, plus everything you've learned along the way. Your teenage self's dreams built your 20s. Your 20s experiences shaped your 30s. Your 30s lessons prepared your 40s. Each stage builds on the last, creating a richer, more complex, more interesting version of you. The goal isn't to stay young forever. It's to stay alive and engaged at every age, finding new ways to grow and contribute no matter how many candles are on your birthday cake. We've reached our final lesson, the one that brings everything together. After understanding attachment, relationships, death, and aging, we now discover how to find that calm center inside yourself that remains steady no matter what storms are raging around you. This is about learning to move with life instead of against it. Meet Jennifer, a woman who spent years exhausting herself by fighting every curveball life threw at her. When her job ended unexpectedly, she panicked and spent months angry at the unfairness. When her relationship ended, she fought to get her ex back instead of accepting it was over. When her health issues appeared, she raged against her body instead of working with it. Jennifer was like someone trying to swim upstream in a powerful river, always struggling, always tired, always fighting the current. Then something shifted. Jennifer started paying attention to what was actually happening in her life instead of what she thought should be happening. When the next challenge came, her mother's illness, something was different. Instead of fighting reality, she asked herself, what does this situation need from me? Instead of demanding that life be different, she started responding to life as it was. Here's the truth most people never learn. Life is like water flowing down a mountain. It's going to go where it's going to go. You can try to dam it up. You can try to redirect it. You can exhaust yourself fighting against it. Or you can learn to flow with it. When you fight the current, you drown. When you flow with it, you discover that the river knows exactly where it's going. This doesn't mean becoming passive or giving up on your dreams. It means learning the difference between what you can control and what you can't. You can control your responses, your choices, your attitude, and your actions. You can't control other people, natural disasters, economic changes, or the passage of time. When you stop wasting energy trying to control the uncontrollable, you have more energy for what actually matters. The ancient teachers discovered something powerful. There's a place inside you that never changes, even when everything around you is changing. It's like the eye of a hurricane, completely calm even while chaos swirls around it. This inner stillness isn't something you have to create. It's already there. You just have to stop creating so much noise that you can't hear it. Most of us live our lives like we're constantly stirring muddy water. We're always reacting, always worrying, always planning, always wanting things to be different. But when you stop stirring the water, it naturally becomes clear. When you stop fighting with your thoughts and emotions, they naturally settle. When you stop demanding that life be perfect, you start noticing that life is already complete just as it is. This inner peace isn't about becoming emotionless or disconnected. You'll still feel joy and sadness, excitement and disappointment. But you'll experience these emotions like weather passing through the sky instead of earthquakes shaking your foundation. You'll feel them fully, learn from them, and let them move through you without being destroyed by them. When you find this balance, something amazing happens. You start making decisions from clarity instead of panic. You start responding to problems instead of reacting to them. You start seeing opportunities where you used to see only obstacles. You become like a tree that bends in the storm instead of breaking, flexible, resilient, and deeply rooted. The most beautiful part is that this peace isn't dependent on your circumstances being perfect. You can be calm in chaos, centered in confusion, and peaceful in problems. You realize that happiness isn't something you find out there in the world. It's something you uncover within yourself. And once you find it, nothing outside of you can take it away. There you have it. 5 Buddhist lessons that can completely transform how you experience the ups and downs of life. From letting go of material attachments to embracing the natural flow of existence, these aren't just ideas to think about. They're tools you can start using right now, today, in whatever situation you're facing. If these lessons resonated with you, if they opened up something new in your thinking, I'd love for you to hit that subscribe button. There's so much more wisdom to explore together, and I'm here to share it with you in the same simple, direct way. And here's something important. These teachings become more powerful when they're shared. If you know someone who's struggling with change, someone who's fighting against the natural flow of life, share this video with them. Sometimes the right message at the right time can change everything. Remember, embracing impermanence isn't about giving up or becoming passive. It's about finding the freedom that comes from dancing with life instead of wrestling with it. Until next time, keep flowing,